What's up and welcome to another episode of Football Everyday, coming to you live and direct from Studio V here at the One Utama Shopping Centre in PJ. My name is Nelson. Good to be back. My bro Ian is with me today. It's just the both of us today. We're a bit, we don't. Our subs are not with us. Subs are not available. Yeah, bro, loads of great goals, and what a weekend of football it was, right? I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed your football. I definitely did. So let's start with the 12 draw between Liverpool and Manchester City. Bro, I mean, prior to the game, Rafa Benitez said that, his team would turn their season around by beating Man City, which we all know they failed to do. So is that it for the Reds title challenge, you think?
Oh, I think it was over by the time they lost the third match. And then after every match we were saying, this is the final nail in the coffin, and then the next match they come, that's the final nail in the coffin, and Rafa just keeps coming back, being positive, which is what he needs to do. But I think we all saw this coming. I actually predicted that City would win, would actually nick it, but of course I think it was a pretty late goal, right, from Benayoun.
Right.
So, what can you do? But I really think that it's been over for quite a while, yeah. The title race for them.
So title hopes aside, bro, I mean, what do you think is the problem with the Liverpool team, man?
I think at the moment it's probably confidence, and they're not getting much luck with injuries as well. Rafa needs to haul the team back up by just being blindly saying that, no, we're positive, we can turn things around. That's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. It's time for some honesty, and I think the players might appreciate that. But he's in a kind of a no-win situation because the title race really is over for him. There's really nothing much else he can say.
Yeah. Speaking about title race and all, in that their dire situation, they're really bad in Europe as well, in a precarious position, bro. And I think they're playing tomorrow morning or Thursday morning, if I'm not mistaken. You think they're going to make it out from their group into the next stages?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a bridge too far. A bridge too far. No way.
I gotta agree with you there, man. Sorry, Liverpool.
But again, I have to say this. All my predictions have been wrong so far, except for Man City. So don't trust me. Anything can happen in football.
Right. Okay. Not to take anything away from City. In getting a draw. But do you think they were good for a point at Anfield over the weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
it was the sixth draw in a row. But
they need to start racking up those wins, but. I think it's the same thing with Man City. They've drawn too much. That I don't think they're in for the title. Maybe for the Champions League spot, especially African Nations Cup.
Yep.
They're gonna lose some players as well. So title is definitely too far for them too.
Great stuff. So let's move on to Man United's 3-0 win over Everton. Where Darren Fletcher scored a superb goal. I've never seen him score a goal like that until last weekend. To get United underway for what was, I think, a generally comfortable win in the end, right, bro? You got to agree.
Yeah. They should have won by more, actually.
Yeah. So, do you think this was the perfect tonic United needed following what we would say has been a poor run of results?
Yeah, I think obviously they need a win. The thing with United is that there's the pressure to always win. So it doesn't matter what game you're playing, whether you lost the match before or whatever your form is, you have to win a game when you go into it. So. No surprises there, I think. Oh, that's another prediction I got right. Yeah.
Good on you, man. Our mate Shebby believes that the midfield pairing of Carrick and Fletcher should be the number one choice for United. Bro, you agree with this?
Yes and no. I think they should throw Anderson in there. Play a bit of the 4-3-3. Yeah, that's it. Or maybe the 4-5-1, depending on how you see it. But I think the central midfield trio of Carrick, Fletcher, and Anderson could be really good, especially if you put Anderson up front in an advanced role just behind Rooney or Berbatov. So I think he has the quality to score more goals. That would be the ideal combination for me. But having said that, I still think they need a really top-class midfielder. I think up front, Rooney and Berbatov are pretty good.
Right.
The only one area where we don't have like a really top-class name, I think, like a star name, would be in central midfield. And I think maybe, who knows, in the summer, there's talk about Yoann Gourcuff, the French playmaker.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome pairing if they played on the tip of the midfield, and Fletcher and Carrick or Fletcher and Anderson behind him. That would be awesome.
Yep, and no more Nani, you think?
I think that's the end of Nani.
Right, bro. Just before we take a break, quick word on Everton. They certainly don't look half the team they were compared to two seasons ago, right?
Yeah, I mean they've been pulling rabbits out of the hat for a couple of seasons now with the injuries that they've had. It's just really, really bad luck, and to think that they're still around, still mid-table, still getting some good results here and there. It's pretty good already considering the kind of trouble that they've had.
Yeah.
But there were times, especially in the beginning of the second half, where they brought in Yakubu to pair with Zaha. They really looked.
More of a threat,
really solid, really strong going forward.
So very quickly, you like David Moyes? You think he's going to be the next United manager?
No, I don't think so. Jose Mourinho all the way, man.
Alright, great stuff, man. I'll talk to you more soon, but it's time for our first break here on Football Everyday. We'll be right back before you know it with more football chat and banter, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Football Everyday here on the second segment of today's show with me, Nelson, along with Ian, of course. Moving on with the weekend's results, bro, where we now look at a somewhat surprising result, where Arsenal went down by a goal to nil at Sunderland. Bro, over the past few weeks, we've been kind of bigging up Arsenal as, possible title challengers this season, right? And then they contrived to lose to a team like Sunderland. No disrespect, but, to Sunderland. You think Wenger's boys are still missing that something special needed to win the title?
Before I get to that, and I'm beaming like this again, because that's like my third prediction that I got right this time. I kind of thought that Sunderland is sticking, especially at home. So I'm getting better at this. But yeah, Sunderland, I think they were definitely up for a win. And if you watch the match, they actually had some good chances. I think Malbranc had 2 good chances in the first half, which he volleyed over. And a player of his quality should have done better. But I think they were good value for their win.
But the Gunners had chances as well, bro.
Exactly, yeah. I think without Van Persie, it's going to be hard for them to get some of these victories. Van Persie has been playing really, really well. So it's no surprise that if you take a player out like him, of his quality.
Yeah.
I know Eduardo is a good player to stand in, but it's just not the same. They just have to approach the game slightly differently.
Yeah.
And I think that cost them a bit.
Definitely agree with you. But with their win over the Gunners, right, bro? Sunderland became the first team not to concede against Arsenal this season. So your thoughts on them in general? You think Steve Bruce is doing a good job?
Yeah, Steve Bruce has been doing. He's just been like David Moyes. He's been like pulling rabbits out of hats everywhere, all over the place. He's done well
in the transfer market as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's made some good signings. I think Darren Bent was a really clever signing. For a team like his, if you're playing against a top team, you know that you're gonna maybe get 1 chance or 2 chances in the whole game. Darren Bent is the kind of player that puts away those chances.
Right.
He goes missing sometimes, but if he gets a chance, he's a really good finisher, top class. So it's a really clever signing. He's been doing that for quite a while now.
Right, great stuff, man. But so let's move on now to our email of the week, which comes from Kin Sing, who's a Chelsea fan. Bro, he says he's been really impressed by the Blues so far, especially in their 4-0 thrashing of Wolves over the weekend. But he believes they will really, really suffer once the African Nations Cup comes around in January. Bro, I think we got to agree with this, right?
Actually, no.
No?
Actually, I don't agree, because if you check the fixture list, it's going to be pretty kind on them during that period. I think they have like games against Burnley, and it's generally games that you expect them to win,
right,
with or without those players. So that's not going to affect them so much. But I do think Chelsea would suffer towards the end of the season, because they actually have not played their biggest game so far. They still have to play Arsenal home and away. They have to play Manchester City home and away. They have to play United, Liverpool, and Tottenham all the way. So I think something like that. But they have some pretty tough fixtures coming up, and they've had the easy part of the season over now, and it remains to be seen how
they do in the
Ancelotti does after the winter, during the winter period, which is generally the toughest part. Yeah.
Great stuff, man. Thanks a lot for the nice email, Kinsing. We hope your Chelsea does well come the end of the season. Anyhow, no, we don't. If you'd like to write to us, like Kinsing did, please do so at football@thestar.com.my. Okay, and just before our final break, Ian, quick mention on Tottenham's 9-1 demolition of a sorry Wigan. Bro, I mean, Jermaine Defoe for England, you think?
No, I would say Aaron Lennon for England. I thought Lennon was outstanding. He had 4 assists and 1 goal within the first, I think, 70 minutes?
Yeah.
And that is really outstanding. And most of the goals that Jermaine Defoe scored, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Defoe. It was a really top-class finishing there. But Aaron Lennon was outstanding on the right side of midfield.
But were you impressed by the Tottenham team as a whole, based on that performance?
Yeah, but they just have to get some consistency, right? They
like
do have top players.
Just like City, right?
Exactly. Players that I always thought that United should buy, like Jermaine Defoe, maybe Aaron Lennon, or even Tom Huddleston, who's a versatile, strong, strikes the ball well, can pick up the pass from anywhere on the field.
He's slowly coming to the game, right?
Exactly. They just need to get these players to play consistently, and they're set for success.
Great stuff, man. We will take a look, of course, at the weekend's tasty fixtures. But it's time now for our second break here on Football Everyday. So stay tuned to the show and we'll be right back before you know it. And you're back with us on the third and final segment of today's episode of Football Everyday. This is where we dissect this weekend's tasty and eye-catching fixtures, of course. So, bro, let's start with the Merseyside derby where Everton hosts Liverpool. Bro, both teams we know are not playing their best football. So what kind of match are you expecting from this one?
I expect an Everton win.
Wow,
Just go out
really
there and
hope
give
so.
a really good prediction. I expect Everton to win because the flashes of promise they showed with Yakubu and Saha up front against United, that could be the key against a very shaky Liverpool defense. Especially, I think, from set pieces. You have the height of Fellaini and Yakubu's strength, and Saha is really good in the air as well. So I think Everton might just nick it.
But you think we're going to see a lot of goals in this one?
Probably, yeah, because I think Everton these days tend to concede quite a bit, and Liverpool, of course, they have their problems. But
Right.
it should be a high-scoring goal, especially high-scoring game, especially with all the passion between the two rivals.
But, do you think one of these teams need to win to really so-called, pick their season up, bro?
No, I can't see too much riding on this. Maybe more for Everton than Liverpool. Everton, their current position on the table, they can look to something better. But Liverpool, it's kind of neither here nor there. Maybe they're pushing for a Champions League spot, but I'll be quite surprised if they don't make it at the end of the season. So over the course of the season, Liverpool will be there and thereabouts. But Everton probably need this win a bit more than them.
Right, so score prediction there.
Score prediction, 3-2 Everton.
3-2 Everton. You heard it here on Football Everyday from your man Ian Yee. All right, now, if you thought that match was mouth-watering, right? Arsenal face informed Chelsea at the Emirates, and bro, I tell you, this has got to be the biggest match of the week, I think. Chelsea are in really good form right now. So how much will Van Persie's absence hurt Arsenal, you think?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we talked about it earlier, but
exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be a big miss. I was saying earlier that Chelsea's fixture list is gonna get tougher from now on, and this was
Looks
one of the
like
games
it's
I
gonna
was
start this
referred
weekend,
to. Yeah. But now to think about it, Van Persie's not there, so we'll see how Ancelotti's men are up to the task. Playing away from home, a big game. So far, they haven't had too many tests like that yet. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Arsenal are capable of picking up their game. Wenger is capable of compensating for the loss of Van Persie.
right?
Maybe
and
Eduardo
Chelsea
has
are-
already got a game under his belt.
Chelsea are going to be missing Lampard as well again, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
Lampard.
can you see a winner then, or they're going to cancel each other out?
I think it's gonna be a winner. There hasn't been too many draws this season because all the teams know that they need a win, and I think people learned from the mistake of Liverpool last season with all the
Right.
draws they had.
Right.
So everybody's are gunning for wins now, and it should be a win for someone.
So who's your pick? And a score very quickly, man.
Okay, I think I'll go for Arsenal wishfully. Okay, maybe 2-1.
Well, I hope Arsenal win as well. Bro, very quickly, Aston Villa versus Spurs. I'm sure we're not going to see Spurs score another 9 goals, right?
Okay.
But are Spurs good enough to win at Villa Park, you think?
Yeah, I think Spurs will win.
Yeah, Spurs going to
Spurs
win.
will win.
And your favorite team, United, they're at Portsmouth, who hopefully we will beat. It's going United win for you.
Yeah, should be a big win. They played really well in the last game around, so
So Portsmouth
easy peasy.
in for a good time, yeah? To round up today's show, here's this week's Football Everyday fun fact, which is on one player Arsenal is going to miss, as we mentioned like many times, Robin Van Persie. Bro, did you know that RVP is the son of 2 artists and was actually encouraged to follow in his parents' footsteps, but obviously, he instead preferred football. I mean, you think the guy has turned his football into some sort of art?
Kind of, yeah. He's pretty classy with his footwork and all that. But yeah, another fun fact. Maybe did you know about the placenta treatment he's having on his ankle?
Yeah, I'm just a little, but
he's been sent to some I think some one of those natural herbal healers and things like that. And one of the treatment is to rub goat sheep placenta or something on his ankle.
onto the injury, right? Yeah. I heard about that. And then Glenn Johnson's kind of jumped on the bandwagon and said he wants to get that kind of
I'd rather
treatment as
stay
well.
injured than have that thing rubbed on my ankle, just so you know. Yeah.
Great stuff, bro. As usual on Football Every Day. But it is time for us to bid you goodbye. From myself, Nelson, Ian, bro, great to have
Thanks
you
a
again.
lot.
Until we see you next week on Football Every Day, enjoy your football and ciao.